Hey everybody! We're here again for another hard enduro. Do they ever end? No, I don't think so. This one is also in Pennsylvania, just like Tough Like Roar. Actually a really similar format to Tough Like Roar. In the mountains, slimy, wet, nasty, big rock. Probably the hardest race of the year. I actually personally did a couple of the qualifiers, and I will tell you, you need to be in ridiculous shape for this. I got the crap beat out of me by the relentless rocks and rock gardens. There's no moment in time where you can sit down and relax. The whole course, despite how it might look on camera, it just is rocks everywhere. This is the last race of the series. I'm not saying there's no more enduro races coming up. There's TKO. But this one's called Locked and Loaded Shotgun Enduro, something like that. And fortunately for us today, I do have Mr. James Flynn, the dirt bike Jedi himself, to do some commentary and voiceovers, because he has a lot to say about this one. Given that he finished 8th place, which was the best finish of his season. So, without further ado, let's welcome James Flynn himself. After you quick finish watching these awesome RC rock crawlers,
what is up, guys? It's your boy James here, back again for another Endurotainment video. Thanks for having me, Owen. So I did start in the second row. I finished 8th in the qualifying the day before. I went 10 and 6, and I was super close to 5th in the second moto on Saturday for the qualifiers. I wish I had rode that good on Sunday, because then my Sunday result would have been significantly better, but it is all good. Things happen. I had a little bit of it was kind of a rough day for me, I'm not gonna lie. Some days you just ride better than others, and I will be honest, it was a super fun day and I really did enjoy it, but I was not riding as good as I was planning on. Top 5 was the goal for this race, and we did miss that, but we'll definitely get it next time. So it had rained the night before this race, and it was significantly harder because of that. The day before, these rocks had an incredible amount of traction. It was like I was back in Arizona. And just after the rain, it became really slick from it. All of the lines that I had picked out when walking the course were pretty much in the trash because of how much it rained, and you couldn't take them anymore because of how slippery it was. And because of that, I had nearly walked 10 miles for no reason 2 days before the race, which is that's obviously my fault. I maybe should have planned a little bit better, but that's the way things go sometimes. I would say that this might have been one of the hardest courses of the year. You'll definitely see that, later on in the video too. Even when I was walking, I had thought to myself, that it was going to be one of the hardest courses, but after it rained, it just made it even more extreme. Yeah, a lot of these rocky sections the day before, it was just put your bike in a high gear and make sure that you're weighting that rear tire, and just pray that you're not going to, have your bars twist and hit a tree. But, when it got slippery and wet, it definitely changed things up a lot. There was quite a bit of single track to get us to the really gnarly sections. It was kind of a nice little warm-up. Alright, so here we are. We're arriving to the first check right now. So right in here we're starting to get to some of the little bit rockier, harder sections. So coming through a section like this, I always tend to hold my breath, which is like a really common thing for a lot of racers. So I'm just reminding myself to breathe like all the time, and I feel like it just helps so much. Also just trying to like have a good line selection and stay smooth and consistent on the throttle too. Definitely can tell I'm not a trials guy in here, feet off the pegs, just trying to get through. These rocks were like really good size, but they would also move too, which is kind of wild. It would really change up the line, and you know, it could really kill your momentum quickly. This section was basically just telling you what was going to come through for the rest of the day. It was super hard and very slippery and rocky. So I started finding that the virgin lines and the lines that had not been ridden tended to have more traction than the main line. It was usually like the rock that was black and did not have moss on it was usually like ice in comparison to the stuff that had not been ridden. At this point, I kind of realized that the day was going to be more of surviving and just getting through it rather than battling and going super fast and being aggressive. So I had kind of made a plan to just be as smooth as I could and not rev the bike super hard in these sections. At this point, I decided to roll my sleeves up because I was pretty warm. It feels a little bit trashy, but I can honestly say it works well, for me at least. tired because thanks to gravity, you're going to get down one way or another. It's super nice. So now we're rolling in a check 2. This is a fun section too. It's nice and wide, had plenty of different lines to choose from. As you can see, I'm not choosing a very good one because I'm pushing.
What up?
Trying to carry as much speed as I could to get as far as I could, and then just pick my way up from the spot that I was able to make it to.
Stay composed.
Sometimes the feet off the pegs and just giving it throttle technique works like I did there. I'm pretty sure I did like 100 static zaps all day that day. Probably more actually, just because of the amount of like stopping and setting up that this place requires. By this point, I was very tired, and I usually can go for a pretty long time. I focus a lot on, endurance training and making sure that my cardiovascular shape is there. But for some reason on this day, I was very fatigued very quickly, and it could have been the heat. It could have been because I wasn't well recovered enough from the training the week prior. I'm not too sure, but definitely going to have to figure it out so things like this don't happen again. So this section was called Tombstone. This was probably the hardest section of the entire race. I was just doing the best I could to pick through it well. I'm actually very happy with how I rode through this section. Just not the rest of the race. So right here is a line that was definitely harder than the main line. It had, a pretty good sized step in it, and it was a lot steeper, but it had more traction, so it ended up working out quite a bit.
There's like fucking baby turtles right down in there, dude. A whole bunch of turtles. It's making me feel bad. There's a freaking turtle right in the fucking path. I don't want it to get crushed.
Cool little section right here. It seemed to go really easy, and then the hill right after it was very challenging. So through this section, my bike was running like super hot, and it usually doesn't because I run 2 fans. And then I realized that the fans weren't working and my thermostat had failed. And luckily I had wired in a backup switch to eliminate the thermostat if it fails when I was putting this bike together. And so I flipped that thing on. First time I used it all season. So I was glad to, I guess it wasn't a waste of time putting it on. And yeah, my bike cooled down like right away. This downhill is very scary. It went on forever, it seemed like, and if you fell, you would just fall into the unknown abyss below. And so then I made the executive decision to get off my bike and start walking it, and I was very tired and very out of it at this point. Drinking my Hammer Nutrition Heed. So after that downhill, we dropped into this darker forest area, and this was a really cool area. I know that they're going to use this way more next year, and I'm really looking forward to that. This creek was so much fun. Even when I was super tired, I was really, really enjoying this creek. So after exiting that creek, we went up this very, very steep rocky hill that was very slick, and I was pretty much just trying to get traction up it, just creep and crawl my way up. I kept looking at my rear tire and repositioning and just trying to figure out ways to just get up this thing inch by inch. So this was a kind of, the start of it was a little bit wide open and fast uphill that led to some switchbacks, and this was the last uphill of the race. So at the top of this hill, I knew that it was just easy single track all the way back to the finish line, so I was very relieved about that. So that's pretty much the end. I am beyond embarrassed that Owen was able to keep up with me through the single track towards the end. I was very tired and just trying to get back, I suppose, but man, this is horrible to watch me go so slow. With all that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I'm trying to get Owen to come down to Tennessee to film TKO, and I'm also trying to get him to come out to Arizona and document all of my training for Endurocross, and to come to all the Endurocross rounds and do some filming there. So maybe if you guys tell Owen in the comments to come out and do that, maybe he'll be more inclined to. But yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. This has been the most fun season of racing I've ever had, honestly. I can tell you that I have really enjoyed this season of the US Hard Enduro Series. Everybody putting it on did a great job.
Thank you so much, James, for doing the commentating on this race, because only you know how difficult it actually was. But I'll need to correct you. On the end, when I was following you, you were actually going full out, and I was catching you because I am an absolute unit. And thank you so much for everyone who's watched this video and the past videos. Stay tuned because we'll be uploading more content in the very near future. Thanks again for watching. Dirt bikes are awesome!